Hey guys, welcome back. I have returned from vacation. We actually got home about 3 weeks ago, but I have been playing a lot of catch up, just getting my bearings back on being home. Plus, it is summertime, and so we keep pretty busy. Yeah, it's taken me a little bit of time to get back here and start filming videos again. That being said, I do have a few videos to play catch up on and start setting up reading vlogs and all that kind of thing. So let's go ahead and get into today's video. All the books that I read in June. I ended up reading 4 books. So as you know, we were in Europe. As you know, we were on vacation. We were in Portugal and in Spain from the end of May till about June 20. And I didn't really read a whole lot of things. Despite having a lot of time on the airplane, I ended up sleeping through most of the long haul airplane, and then I would read a little bit on the shorter flights. I would try to read at night a lot of times, but because of the type of vacation that we were on a backpacking trip, we were putting in a ton of mileage, a ton of steps. By the time we would get back to our room or apartment or whatever, I was just so dead tired. I would barely even get to finish a page sometimes. So I didn't get to read as much as I hoped. But I still read some pretty good things this past month, and I wanted to share them. So the first book is The Peculiar Garden of Harriet Hunt by Chelsea Iverson. For all of the plant-loving book nerds, plant-loving fantasy book nerds, you're gonna love this one. This is about a girl named Harriet Hunt. Oh my goodness, I don't even know how to explain this book. Okay, so we're following this girl, Harriet Hunt. She lives alone. She's perfectly happy with that, but it doesn't really look good on Victorian society for a woman to be alone, unmarried. Her father has disappeared like months ago. She at this point is losing hope that he's even going to return. They have a very strained relationship. Then someone comes to her door, and I think they kind of lead her to believe that maybe she's hiding something. She knows what happened to him, potentially nefarious dealings behind her father's disappearance. She's also running on fumes regarding finances and being able to care for her home. So push comes to shove, this scenario leads her down a path to try to wed, because that's really the best option for women who are alone. And it just so happens that she meets a man who is infatuated with her, and it ends up coming at a perfect time. So they start planning their wedding, and it looks like things are going to be turning up. Now, Harriet actually has a really big secret. This is one of the reasons she does have such a strained relationship with her father. There's a lot of secrets going on, but she has a very peculiar garden, as it says in the title of the book. And I don't really want to tell you anything more than that, but I think that you would really enjoy this. I will say that it's a bit slower paced book. I think it's more of a thriller, but it's not like fast paced page turning thriller. It did keep me very engaged. It is fantasy or magical realism. I would say it's more like magical realism to maybe fantasy. The difference between magical realism and fantasy is that sometimes what seems to be magical could be nothing but just something kind of normal. And it's set in like the real world. So I think it kind of rides on that edge a little bit. So it's not going to be super wild and out there fantastical things happening, but it is really good. I really enjoyed this, but I think it was really well written. I liked the characters. I felt that the story and the mystery really unraveled very cleverly. I do feel like I saw the ending coming. So for you mystery sleuths, you're going to see it coming probably from a mile away, but really it's the journey, and I think that's really fun. That is The Peculiar Garden of Harriet Hunt. The next one I read was The Ragpicker King by Cassandra Clare. This is the second book in the Castellane series. The first one is The Sword Catcher, which you get to know, in the first one you get to know all about the sword catcher, who is basically like a stunt. I don't know why I always have to simplify it by explaining that basically that means he's like a stunt double for the prince until he becomes the king. So this is the second one. So we switch gears a little bit and we start getting to know who this rag picker king is and the other side of this society. And I thought that it was really good. I think that I had a lot more fun with the first book than the second one for the majority of this book. However, I did love the ending. There's a couple other characters, and I think I kept getting them mixed up, and then I couldn't decide if maybe they were actually the same person, and I'm still not 100% sure. I felt confused, and maybe that is actually what you're supposed to feel, because when it comes to the ending and it wraps it all up, you're like, oh, okay. I kept wondering if I wasn't getting different characters mixed up, namely the ragpicker king, some other characters that I think I'm still kind of messed up on something. Some other characters I kept wondering if they weren't maybe the same person, or if I was just getting mixed up, because I was trying to go back to the first book to remember when a couple of characters were first introduced. And you know, retrospectively, I'm thinking that when you get to the end, it makes it all make sense. That's what it is. That's what it is. Anyways, the ending blew my mind, for real. Also, I'm not even gonna lie, there's a couple of characters. One of the characters is Lynn, yeah. Lynn Castor, and another character who I was so here for. I feel like even when I was feeling kind of confused with some of these characters and wondering if I've missed something somehow, what kept me going was specific characters that I absolutely love and adore. And this book just ended up making me feel so happy. I haven't even done any kind of research if there's supposed to be a third book. The way this one ends, I'm assuming there will be a third one. Will there be more? It does seem like Cassandra Clare loves the number 3, so I think that this will probably just be a trilogy. The next one I read was Tiger's Curse by Colleen Hook. I'm so sorry, I'm not really sure how to say her name. I found this one in a little free library. I was really torn on this one if it was going to work for me. I went ahead and just sat down and decided to read it because it was kind of like a read it or unhaul it, to which I did not share with you guys, just because it's been really crazy and I just didn't feel like I had the time and place to sit down and actually film it. So in my mind, it was basically a read it or unhaul it. I was actually expecting to not really like this book, but I had to just know, like, maybe it'd be really addictive. I got very invested in this book. So you're following this girl. She decides to get a summer job. She gets a summer job working at a circus, tending to the tiger's cage. To help with the animals. For some reason, she's really drawn to the tiger, even though she's really afraid of this tiger because, like, hello, tiger? Could bite your hand off. You never know. There's something really about the eyes, and over time, she got close to this tiger, and because the tiger responded super well to her, they ended up hiring her for this, like, special trip to take the tiger home to India. And then the story just goes from there. So she winds up in this storyline about breaking an Indian curse. And I can't tell you anything more about that exactly because it is quite the mystery. And I thought that part was so intriguing, so interesting. However, we got to a point maybe about midway through where it was very forced in a way. I felt like the writing is not great. I will just put that out there right now. The writing is really not that great, but it's one of those books that it's fine because it's one of those books though where it's fine. You can overlook it because the story is really good. The dialogue can be very almost kind of awkward. It seems very unnatural, sometimes really ridiculous. But as we get even further into the story, there's another character who's introduced, and it's kind of like we're having like a repetition of history. It just really went downhill. Very poorly downhill. And I about DNF'd this book, but I went ahead and pushed through because I was flying through this book. It's a very easy read. So I decided to go ahead and finish the book because I'd already made it so far. By the time it ended on a very good note and kind of explained a lot of the things that I was having kind of an issue with. And I was like, okay, I'm glad I finished this book. Anyways, that was the journey with this book, but I did really enjoy it. I think that, would I recommend this book? Sure. If you want a fast, addictive, romantic read that's kind of unique, sure, give this one a try. It is part of a series. I will say I'm not going to be finishing this series. I mean, I guess if I was incredibly bored, maybe, but I feel like I don't really need to know anything else. Anyways, that's Tiger's Curse. Okay, and then the last one that I read is Valiant. This is the second book in A Modern Tale of Fairies by Holly Black. I think I mentioned this before, but I wanted to get around to The Cruel Prince, and I followed a friend's advice to start with the modern fairy tales because she published those first and then published The Cruel Prince, and then to continue on with the series with, I forgot what it was, but anyways, so that's what I've been working on. I have now finished the first 2 books, and I still have the third one to read, which I do think I kind of forgot about it. I am going to actually try to get on that one here in the month of July. But I really liked this book. We have our main character who kind of gets in deep in a situation. We have a new character, a troll, which is fun addition. And I think I mentioned this before when I read and talked about the first one in this series. I'm still really surprised. I guess this was marketed for young adult, and yes, it is for like young adult, but it is so much darker than I expected. And this one even takes us into a little bit darker place. And when I say darker, I don't even mean like scary fairies. I mean that our young adult characters have a very tough life, and we have a lot of talk of drugs and addiction and how it can corrupt you. Even the most unlikely character can become corrupt. Yeah, so I am enjoying this. I do really like these books so far, so I am excited to finish up this series. Okay, so that is all the books that I read in the month of June. That is 4 books. I am now at 34 books for the year. Oh, wait, here we go. 34 books for the year, and that puts me 16 books behind schedule. So usually I like to talk about, okay, what I've read and now what I'm going to read. So I have a lot of plans for July and August. Let's be real. I feel like my TBR list is excruciatingly long, very unrealistic. Mostly centering around specific projects. So as I said, I would like to continue on with Modern Fairy Tales. So that's 1 book. They're really pretty short. I cannot find the audiobook for any of these books, so I will have to get the physical. So I will be reading the ebook edition. We are going to be doing the next Read It or Unhaul It, but it is my birthday month, so I'm going to be choosing. I have a couple of summer books that I wanted to prioritize, being that it is summer. I still have yet to just go and relax and read by the pool. I just feel like I've been so busy. So that is a must coming up. I think next week I'm going to plan at least 2 days where I'll go to the gym, get all sweaty, come home, snatch up the kids and say, let's go swimming. And then I have about 5 other books that I would like to do for that project. Sometimes those can go so much faster if you're just like not vibing with it, so you drop it and get rid of it. So I also want to do a 5-star reading vlog that's centered around those, so that I have about 4 books that I would love to get to for that vlog. And then I have my Buffy reading project that I would like to be reading for. So that's a lot of stuff, I know. That is the plan. Likely not going to be able to do all of that, but we're going to give it our best shot. All right, guys, thank y'all so much for watching, and we'll see you soon with another video. Bye.